Hello everyone and welcome to another Flutter Firebase video where we are going to implement phone authentication system. Here you can see on our screen we have our application and Firebase open side by side to it. In the app, if I click on get started, we will be redirected to this screen where we can enter our phone number and also select different country codes from this particular list. So currently I am selected with the Indian country code and I will enter up my number and click on this login button so that OTP can be sent on my device. Now I'll just wait for the captcha thing to be completed. Okay, so on my real device I just received the OTP, you can see on the screen also. And now I will enter the OTP that I just received and click on this verify. So this will redirect me to this screen where I need to enter the user information. So let me enter my name. Then I can enter this particular email address and provide a little bit of bio. So hello, this is Shivan Singh, and okay, if you see in the authentication tab we get a new entry added, but if you see into our Firestore database, which will be our database that we are going to use, there is currently no entry, and also in our Firebase storage the user profile is not updated, which means nothing is present right now. So let us click on this circle avatar and we can select this particular photo, and now we can click on this continue, and this will upload the photo and also our user data to the server. So we can reload this Firebase storage and you can see we have the image uploaded here, and also you can see the Firestore database. We will get a new entry added. Okay, so this is the data here. So we will see how we can design this particular thing in this video. Before we move forward to our coding part, I wanted to take few minutes and explain about a very popular platform, Zigo Cloud. It is a cloud service that will help you set up voice, video and chat functionality to your applications. There are different UI kits and documentation which make it popular among different developers and businesses. If you see the documentation that is present on their website, you will see there are different products like call kit, video conference kit, and one of my personal favorite, this in-app chat. In the in-app chat, if you select on this Flutter documentation, this will show up the complete documentation for setting this Zigo Cloud service on your Flutter application. We have different concepts like group chat, the room, and then different offline online messages, push notification and so on. So you can click on this get things started and go through all of the documentation that are required for setting up Zigo Cloud on your Flutter apps. Other than that, if you get stuck somewhere, you can click on this sample app and this will give us a complete integration of Zigo Cloud in Flutter application. So without wasting much of your time, let us start coding our application. Okay, so we will start by creating a new Flutter project. So for creating the new Flutter project, I will open up my terminal and I will go to the directory where I generally create my project. So this is cd projects and then the YouTube. Here I will write command flutter create phone auth Firebase and then just wait for this to finish. Okay, so I think this has been completed. Now let me just go to that folder cd phone auth Firebase, and now we can open this in our Visual Studio Code. If you see, I already have one Visual Studio Code window opened here. Yes, I trust this author and I will do this as a full screen. Let me increase the font size. Let me just see. Okay, so I can increase the font size. Yep, so now this will be visible to all of you. And we can start by deleting this Windows, then MacOS, and then this Linux folder. And now we will start our iOS simulator. And if you see, the iOS simulator is here. So we will just align this side by side to this. Okay, so we are here and now we will start debugging. So by the time it is running the application on our iOS simulator, I wanted to show you some of the screenshots and other database structures. So we can click on exit from here, and if you see here, so this is the welcome screen, which will be just a simple screen. Then we have this phone authentication screen, or the screen where we will be entering the phone number. This will be a country code picker, so we can easily change the country code from here. Then we have the phone number, and once we click on this login, we will be redirected to this verification screen where we can enter the OTP that we receive. And then this will be the home screen. But before this home screen, if you can see, we have these data. These data will be taken from the user, and the screen where these data will be fetched from the user will be this user information screen. So basically, after this verification is complete, we will check whether this user exists in the application or not. If the user don't exist in the application, then we will be redirecting the user to this user information screen where they can select the profile photo, then enter the name, the email, then the little bio for themselves, and then we'll save that data to the database and then redirect the user to the home screen. So this is the overall idea behind this. There is one explanation also which I will do once we start coding for this. Okay, so our application is running here. If you go to our main.dart file, you can remove everything from here, and now we will write import material.dart, and we can do a void main run app, and this will be a stateless widget. So we can write STL, which is a shorthand for this stateless widget creation in the Visual Studio Code. So we have this black screen here. We can write material app, debug banner can be disabled, and the home screen can be our welcome screen, which we don't have, so we have to create that screen here. So we can structure the project folder something like screens, and here we will have welcome screen.dart. We can import material.dart, STFL for stateful widget, and this will be welcome screen, and we can return a scaffold. So now we will be importing this, and we are here in the welcome screen. So we can change few things, like we will also write the title as Flutter phone auth, and rest everything is quite okay. So we will be going to a welcome screen and start designing our welcome screen. So if you come to this welcome screen.dart, let me just open the screenshot. So we have this simple image here, then there is two text, and then this particular button. So what we can do is, we will be adding the assets folder. So inside this assets folder, we will have these three images, one, then this second image, and the third image. So in the description you will get a link where you can download these images. Right now I will just reveal this in Finder. So if you see here, and I will also open this particular thing somewhere inside my Mac where I do have the files. So if you see, I think, okay, so we have all these three images here. You can copy and paste them here, and now we got image 1, image 2, and image 3 here. So we also need to specify in our perspec YAML file that we have added few images. So we will uncomment these lines, and here we will write assets and done. So now I'll just wait for this flutter pub-get to run, and then we are good to go. So we are here in our main.dart file. This is completed for now, until and unless we start coding with the backend part. First of all, we will be designing the UI part, and then we will shift to other things. Let me open my design. Okay, if you can see, all these are in a column. So we will start first of all by giving a safe area, and the safe area will have a child, which can be a center child because we want all of these widgets to be in center, and a little bit of padding from top. Let's say we want a padding from top and also padding from the left and right. So this means a vertical and a horizontal. So we can write symmetric padding. Vertical can be 25, horizontal can be 35, let's say, and the child can be column. Inside this column we will have first widget as the image, assets, image1.png. Okay, so we got the image loaded here. Height can be 30. Then we will have a size box, And after this size box, let's say we will have one text. Let's get started. Style can be text style. Font size, let's see, 22. Okay, we can also do this font bold. And now let me just do another size height of 10, and we can copy these text from here, paste it here. Let me write never, what is the text here, never a better time than now to start. Okay, but there are few design things that we have to do. This can be, color can be colors.black 38, and good to go. We will also define one more size box with a bit more height. So this can be something like this. And now we have to define our custom button. So we can create a button widget here, which will be widgets. So this will be custom button.dart stateless custom button. We can do import material.dart final string text. If you hold down this command and full stop, so we will be shown with this option, or if you are not shown with this option, then you can click on this bulb icon and generate the constructor. So now we will return an elevated button. On press can be the function, so we will write this white callback on pressed, add final values on press, and style can be button style. Then we will have a few styles here, but before that let me just do the child, which can be padding, or rather instead of padding we can directly have the child here. This will be text. Font size 16. Okay, now for the button style we can have few properties like foreground color, material state property dot all. This is a color, so the foreground color can be colors.white, because we want the foreground text to be white and the background can be purple. So we can just copy this line here. This will be background color and purple. Now, other than that, if you see, we have this rounded rectangle, so we will write shape material state property dot all. Then this is of rectangle border type, and value can be rectangular border. Border radius can be, let's say, 25, and I think we are good to go. So this is this. Now we can call our custom button here. So this will be size box, because we have not defined any size for the button. Let's say double.infinity, which means the maximum space that is available. On pressed can be null for now. If we have this, okay, so first of all we need to do the child custom button. On press can be null for now. Text can be get started. Okay, so we have this thing here. Height can be 50. Yep, this looks nice. Let me just see. Okay, so this can be like this. And okay, so we have this get started here. And now once anyone press on this get started, they should be redirected to this screen where we have the registration. So let's start by creating this registration screen. Register screen.dart. This will be import material.dart, and this will be register screen. Here also we can return scaffold, navigator.push. This will be material, page route, builder can be context, and then if you see, you have to return the widget that we want to call, so that will be register screen. Perfect. I can provide a const value here and add some comma to make this look a bit better. If I click on get started, we are here in the register screen. Okay, so now for our register screen, what we can do is, let me see the design. So this is quite similar to what we actually did in welcome screen also. So we will write scaffold, and if you want, we can open the welcome screen side by side to this. This will also be something like body, safe area, child. Do we need a center? Okay. Then a padding. We can copy these values from here, and again a child with a column. So okay, I can close this. Inside this column, first of all, we will have this container in which we will have the image placed. So we can have this something like container, width can be 200, height can be 200, and we can have the child as image.assets and image 2.png. Click on save. So other things we can do is box decoration. The shape can be box shape.circle, and the color can be colors.purple, but this with a little bit of lighter shade, so shade 50 will be okay. But if you can see, the image is going outward, so we can provide a little bit of padding. Let's say 20. Okay, so 20 looks better. So we have the container here. Now other than the container, the next thing that we have to do is a size box with the height, let's say 20. Then the things that we already did, like the one for our get started screen or the welcome screen. So we will go and write welcome screen, and here we can copy all of these values, paste them here. So this will become register, and here we will do add your phone number. We will send you a verification code, and the text align can be text align.center. So this is present here. Now the important thing is we have to create this particular field here. So we can start designing this. So we will write text form field, and this will take the value of controller. So we can create final text editing controller on controller, and this will be text editing controller. So here we can write phone controller. Perfect. We have this particular thing here. Now we can start by decorating this. So this will be input decoration, and let's say we have the hint text, enter phone number. Now other than that, we can provide few other values like the enabled border. So outline input border, the border will be something with a border radius of 10, and the border side can be border side colors dot black 12. So this is the lightest shade of black, I guess, that is available for us. So we got this enabled border enabled border here. We can also do the same for focus border. So even if we click on this will not change if we don't have this here. So right now we reload. So this is when the border is not clicked, but if we click this, it will change to this. We can copy paste this here, and this will be kind of focus border. So we got this here. Now if you see the cursor, so we can change the cursor color. This will be color for purple. Okay, so the cursor color has been updated here. Now if we look at the design that we have for our registration screen, the next thing is this button, and also this, what we say, the prefix icon for the phone number. So let me just write this prefix. This will be icon. Here we can display one container with a padding, let's say 8.0. and now before we start designing this, let me show you which package we are going to use for this country code picking. So if we open up our web browser and we go to pub.dev, here we will have this package country picker. You can just search it here, and this is with this name country picker. The latest version is 2.0.18 by the time of recording this video, which was published 4 days ago. So I personally like this package because it has a lot of customization that you can play with, and it's quite easy to implement. So let's see, we can come over here and hold down Command Shift and P on Mac and Control Shift and P on Windows, and this will open this particular command palette. And here if you write dart add dependency, and then we can search for the country picker, and it will search and add this particular dependency in our project. So by the time it is adding the dependency in our project, we can create a design for that. So this will be an on tab, which we will define in a while. Other than that, let's do a text. So if you look at this text, we have the flag and then the country code. So for that, we would have to create this parameter, which is coming from the country class. So this country class is present in our package that we just installed, country picker. So I want to define a by default country that will be selected whenever the application loads up. So I can provide India. So let me just show you what values you can enter here. So for the phone code, that will be 91 because that is the starting code for our country. Then country code is IN. If you can see, this is an integer value, so I will put 0 here, and this will be a boolean value, so I'll put true. Level can be 1. Then these values will be just a simple thing. This will be India. We can do this India again, and display name, no country code, and I can leave this value as empty because only the things that are necessary are this, and then I guess these are the necessary values. Or rather, if you hover over this, all of these are required fields. So that's the reason we have defined all of these. So now if you come over here in this text field, what we can do is we will do a string interpolation, and we will write selected country, or what was the name for this? Let me write this selected country. So this will be flag emoji. Let's see. Okay, so we get the flag emoji here. Let us also define some text style. So let's say the font size can be 18. Color can be colors.black, and font weight can be font weight.bold. So nothing updated there, but let us put the 91 value. So this will be similar to the one that we written here, selected country, and this will be phone code. So we have 91, but we need to provide a plus here. So this becomes plus 91. Now whenever we click on this on tab, we need to call the function that is available in a country code picker package. This will be show country picker. It is an function inside this, and on select. If you do this on select, we will get a value which will be this country class only. So what we can do is we will set the state selected country is equal to value. So now if we click on this, we see a bottom sheet appearing, but this is taking up the entire screen. So what we can do is, let us provide a little bit of customization here. So if you see this, there is this country list theme. So the value that it will take is country list theme. So we will write country list theme. And now let us see what values are there. Background color and then bottom sheet height. So we need to provide this. Let's say this is 500. I can provide a const value here. And if I click on this, so this is coming at a required height. You can increase the height if you want. So now this will be 600. I think 550 is okay. And now let's see if this is working or not. If we select Afghanistan, so we get the country code updated here. If we select in the name of this, I don't know how to pronounce, Angola, Argentina, Bahamas, sorry for any name that I pronounced wrong. And now let me just shift to my country. This is India, and then here we can enter the phone number. We can also do one more thing. If we see here, and whenever we want to display what we want to display is, we want to display a tick icon here. So if phone controller dot text dot length is greater than 9, we are considering this as greater than 9 because many countries have phone numbers greater than 10 digits. So if this is greater than 9, then we will display something inside a container, else we will not display anything. So this will be kind of like height 30, width 30. Then we can have a decoration where we will be providing the shape and also the color. So this can be color green, and the icon will be tick icon. So I guess this is with the name done. Color can be color white, and size can be 20. If I click on save, and whenever we have the number size more than 9, so let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and if we have this as more than 9, okay, so this is not updating here. Let us look at why this is not updating. Because if we click on save or control S, then it is updating, but we don't want that thing to happen. We want the value to update whenever the value is changed. So I think we need to provide this. So this will be set state phone controller.text is equal to value. But if you see, whenever we do a on change inside a text form field and update the value of the controller, the font becomes a bit reverse direction. So there is a quick trick for setting this thing up. So you can take the phone controller and do a selection, and this will be a text selection property, and from this position thing, what we can do is we can define the offset. So text position offset can be the length of text. So now if we see, let me just provide 2 commas here. So now if I enter, so it is coming in the right direction and also in the right way. I think we can increase the we can increase the font weight here for the text style. So this will be kind of, if we come here, we provide a style here. This will be text style. Font size can be 18 and font weight can be bold. Let me just click on save. Okay, so now if I enter 1 2 3 4 5 6, perfect. And for our hint text, we can decrease this thing or rather the hint style. So this will become text style. Font weight can be font weight, not W600, or rather 400 is also okay. No, 400 is not okay. 500. Yep. Font size can be 15. Yep. And next thing that we have, colors.gray.shade, let's say 600. So this looks much better now. If we have numbers more than 9, only then we'll be showing this particular, what we say, the suffix icon. But I think we need to provide a bit of margin here so as to make it look much better. So we can do something like 10.0. Okay, so this looks much better here. Okay, perfect. So now other than this, other than our text form field, we can provide a size box here. Let's say with a height of 20. And here we need to provide our, what we have, let me just see the design, login button. So don't need to write the comment here because we know that is a single button. This will be size box, width can be double dot infinity. We will take the maximum amount of space that is given to us and take the maximum amount of space that is given by our parent view. Height can be 50, and then we will have the elevated button. Or rather, if we look at our custom button, yeah, that was our custom button. So this will be custom button. We need to have these properties. So first one will be text. Text can be login, and then we will have on pressed, which we can provide as empty for now. Perfect. So we have this button here. We also have these things implemented here. So now what we can do is we will start by adding Firebase to our particular project. So if you come here, we have the registration design a bit completed here. Then we also have the welcome screen if we reload. Okay, and we are in the registration screen, but we have not set up Firebase till now. So let me just open up my web browser. And here you can come to this website console.firebase.google.com. If you are having error finding it, you can just directly go to Google and search for Firebase console, and then you can come over to that section where you have your Firebase projects, and then you can click on add project. And here I will enter the name for this as phone auth Flutter. Click on continue. We don't need the Google Analytics for this, so I'll just click on create my project. So this is creating the project. So by that time, what we can do is I will tell you one step that is something you can implement, but personally I prefer you can learn a lot of new things if you go through the basic documentation and setting up things instead of using packages. So if you come to this console, here you can see we can add an iOS application and Android application, and also we have this Flutter application. But if you come and add this using the Firebase CLI and SDK, but I personally prefer going through this basic steps because that is something I find more bit easier, or what we have, what is the right word, I don't know. I think we can look at this thing because I have been implementing this for so long that I get used to this. So now for adding it to our Android application, what we have to do is I will search for Android manifest, and in this Android app source main, and then there is an Android manifest. If you're not able to search it like that way, like I did, you can directly go to the project and search it here. You can just copy this thing and paste it here, and here we will write phone auth Firebase, and then this is asking for the SHA signature. Now you can click on this C page and this will open up the page here. So if you're on a Mac or Linux, you can directly just enter this command to get the signature. If you're on a Windows, you can enter this command. I know many people say you can just copy and paste these things, but many a time there comes a situation when these commands also don't work. So I have a particular dedicated video in which I have told you how you can generate the SHA signature for your Mac operating system and also on the Windows operating system. And that video is something in which I received most thanks and appraisal from you guys, because I think that video helped a lot of people in the community. So you can definitely look at that. I'm linking it to the right side of the screen. So now I will open up my terminal and I will go to cd.android folder. And here if you see, we have this debug.keystore. So I already have this command already. So I already have this command entered before. So I just need to press a tab. And then what I can do is I need to enter the password. So that is Android. That is the thing that I created in the video also. We can copy the SHA1 signature and click on paste here and click on register application. And now the next step is to download a Google services.json file and paste it inside this app folder. So I'll just download it first. I guess we got it downloaded here, and now I will drag it to the project. And if you come Android folder, and I need to paste it inside the app folder. So we have this Google services 2.json. Make sure to remove any of the text or numbers that are present and make sure it is in this particular format, Google services.json. And now the next step is to click on next, and here we have this. First of all, this is a project level build.gradle. So project level means you have to go to this Android, and here you have this build.gradle, and here you can add this thing. And then we have this app level build.gradle. So inside this project we have this app folder. Here we have another build.gradle. So here you need to provide few things, like you can do apply plugin, and then you need to apply or just enter this thing. This will be com.google.services in this particular format. And then in the dependencies, what you can do is you can just paste this here, and we are good to go. So we don't have much steps here, but as we have the terminal open, we can also add the SHA256 signature. So you can come over here and click on add this fingerprint and click on save. So we got the SHA1 signature and SHA256 signature. I generally prefer you to please go and add this signature to your application. We can also provide a support email if you want. So we are here in the project overview, and now other than that, we can just minimize this, and here you need to just do few tweaks. So minimum SDK version can be 21, and if you want, you can enable multi-text. So this is the command for that, multi-text enabled. And I think that is everything that we want to do here. We can close this. Right now I will be completing the complete video on this iOS simulator, but I have tested this and it is working. The steps are working, so you can just look at any issues that occur and let me know in the comment section. I will be happy to help you. So now we got the Android part done. Let us come to our iOS part. So for iOS part, what you have to do is open up your Xcode. And after you have opened up your Xcode, this will be the window that is shown to you. Now let me just see where is my particular project, because I myself forgot. So if I do this, it is okay, phone auth Firebase. So now what we can do is open a project or file. I will go to this section where I have all my projects and this, and then we have to open this iOS folder and click on open. So this is opening up the particular project, and now we got that open. So you can come to this runner section, and here you will get the bundle identifier. I don't know why this is not able to copy. Okay, so we can copy it here, and this will be phone auth Firebase. Click on register. This is optional parameter, but main or the important parameter is this Apple bundle identifier. Now we need to download the Google services.plist file. So I think that has been downloaded here. The next step is you just need to drag this inside this runner folder and make sure these values are checked, copy item if needed, and then click on finish. And here on the Firebase, what you can do is you can click on next, next, and done. So we got the Android and iOS application added. Now there are a few other things that we'll be doing, but before that, let me just minimize this. And if you come to this Google services info.plist file, here we also have this 4 as the value. So we just remove that and it will become in this particular format. Make sure your file is also in this format. And here if you see, we have the reserved client ID. So we can just copy this thing, and this is an important thing because that will act as a URL schema. So whenever we are opening any web browser links through our application, so the redirection will be identified using our URL schema. So you can just click on this runner. If you come to this info.plist, you have this URL types. You can click on this, and in the URL schema you just need to enter this. This is a necessary step, else the Google will show us an error that please add the URL schema first to your application. So now if you see this Google services.info file, or rather if you come here to the plist, info.plist, not the Google services.info file. So we got a new entry added, URL schema, and this is the thing that we just added. So I will also show you where is this value coming, or where is this value inside this. So if you can see this iOS folder, we have the runner, then we have the info.plist, and here is the value that we just added. So now most steps for the iOS are also done. The next step that we want to do is we'll just close this, and by the time we can also do something like, let me open up my browser again. So the packages that we are going to use is, first of all, this will be the Firebase core package, which will set up the Firebase inside our application. Then we will have this Firebase authentication. So this package will help us to use the authentication features for authenticating the user using different types of provider like Google, Facebook, Twitter, the phone authentication, and so on. Then we have this Cloud Firestore, which is the database for our, the Firebase. So this is the database. You can see these sections. I will be showing you after I show you all the packages that we are going to use. So we can close this here. So this is the Cloud Firestore. Other than that, we will also use this service, Firebase Storage, because we are going to store the user profile to our server. So for each and every user, we are going to store their profile photo that they upload. So this is not any mandatory step that I want to teach you in this video, but it is something that most people requested in the comment section, that please make an authentication video where you go through the authentication part and then you take the photos from the user gallery and then upload it to the server and then make other things. So kind of similar to that. I hope you got the understanding of what I wanted to say. So the Firebase storage will be the package that we are also going to use. Now, so I have shown you all the packages regarding the Firebase thing. Let me show you where are these services located, and we need to also enable them. So if you come to this authentication part, we can click on this get started. Here you can see all the logos, Google, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, and so on. For this particular video, we are going to stick to our phone authentication only. So I can click on save. And now the important thing or the benefit of using this particular phone authentication is you can provide some numbers for testing. So for this tutorial, I can create this particular number, like this is the country code for India. So I can have the number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0, and then the verification code can be 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this is kind of a dummy number for testing. So this has been added. So anytime any user comes and enter this particular phone number, the OTP will not be sent to this particular number because this is a dummy number. Even if you enter your real number here, that OTP will be something which you entered here. So this is very great feature. So this is a very great feature that is helpful here. So right now we don't have any users. So next step will be our Firestore database. We can also enable this right now only because we have this opened here. So you can click on create database, and let me just wait for this to finish. Okay, so we can start in production mode. Click on enable. It is showing cannot enable Firestore for this project. I don't know why. Let me just change this to some other country. Okay, so this is not being enabled. Let me just reload. Why is this issue happening here? Because I think that has been successfully done. So we got the Cloud Firestore here. Now there is this tab rules here, and this is a quite important thing. So basically we are limiting the write and read access to the users. So right now the read and write access is set to false, which means no one can read or write the data in our database. But we want to make this as true, but make sure don't make this directly true, because anyone can come and directly enter the data in our database. The good practice is use this code request.auth is not equal to null. So what this command means is we are only allowing the read and write access to the persons who are already registered to our to our Firebase console. So now we can click on publish and done. So this was the step that we wanted to do, and we can also do the same for our Firebase storage. You can click on get started, start in production mode, and the same rule that we just set can be also applied here also. Okay, so in the rules section, if you come here, we can write this request.auth is not equal to null, the same thing that we did there also. So we are good to go, I guess. Let me just see, storage is done. So now we can come to our app and open up my command palette and add the packages. So this will be Firebase core, Firebase auth, then I shown you Firebase Cloud Firestore, then we have Firebase storage, and done. So these are the things that we'll be using for now for the Firebase. So I'll just wait for this to fetch all of these packages. I can go to perspec.yaml file and let me see. Okay, so we got all of these added here. So there are a few things that we have to do before we start making any changes. So first of all, what we'll be doing is we will come to this main.dart file, and inside this void main, we will write this what we have, widgets binding dot or what widgets flutter binding, and that is dot ensure initialize. So basically this is linking the Flutter engine, and now we can do Firebase. This will be async, and I don't know why this is not showing Firebase. Okay, so we got the Firebase here, and then initialize application, and done. So we have the Flutter widgets set, then we have the Firebase set, and now what we need to do is I can close this here, and then inside this, as we are running on the iOS simulator, let me just close all of these things. So right now we don't have any pod file, but okay, so we have the pod file. I forgot to see that. So you need to remove this comment, and then you can click on save, and now open up your terminal so you can directly open from here. And now inside your terminal, first of all, go to your iOS folder, and if you do an ls, which means listing down all the files inside this particular directory, so we have this pod file. So basically if you are on an M1 Mac, then you have to use these commands. Let me just show you. So if you are on an M1 Mac, I hope these are visible. So if you are on an M1 Mac, then you have to use sudo arc x68 gem install ffi. This is something that most of you have done, and these are not the required step. You can directly shift to this command. So I myself will copy this command, pod install. This is only for the M1 user. If you are not on the M1 user, then you can directly just you can directly write pod install, and that will work for you. I myself will see whether this is working or not. If any issue occur, then you can look at this command. This is for M1 Mac users. If you are not on the M1, then that can be simply like pod install repo update. So this will update the packages or the dependencies. I don't know why it is taking time. Let me just close this, open up my terminal again, then I will do this. Okay, so now these are installing Firebase. So this is Firebase Firestore, then we have the Firebase core, then we have the Firebase auth, and I forgot to add one more thing. I think that is shared preferences, because we are going to store the lot of data offline for the user. So we can do shared preferences, and this will add the shared preference to our perspec.yaml file. Do a flutter pub get, and I think we can do this command again. So we have the shared preferences iOS also installed. This is generating pods project. Just wait for this to finish. Okay, so we got this thing done here. We can click on exit. So now we have the basic things implemented. We can just hide this particular explorer, I guess. Okay, so now it's time to start our application. For the first time, as we have the Cloud Firestore here, the Cloud Firestore, so that is a quite big package. So it will take a bit of time for this to run on your iOS simulator. So I'll just speed forward the video, or rather I will just come directly with you once the application is running. Okay, so we got the application started, and here you can see if we have all things working and we don't have any issues here. So we can click on this get started, and now we need to implement the login functionality. So the state management tool that we are going to use is the provider. So let me add provider, and now we can create a particular folder for the provider thing, and this will be authentication provider. So I will write auth provider. This can be class auth provider, and this will extend change notifier. Okay, and now we can go to our main.dart file and grab this with a widget, and our widget will be multi provider, and then we need to define this provider that we just created inside our main.dart file. So this can be something like providers, or before that I think we have to import provider. Okay, and now it will become providers. Yep. So we have this change notify provider, create, and then this will be auth provider. Perfect. Okay, so basically let me just explain you what everything we are going to do. So let me open my, okay, so this is the diagram. So initially we'll be checking this whether we have the signed in user or not. If we don't have the user signed in, then we will sign in with phone. And now the sign in with phone, let's say this is the process of entering the phone number, and after we entered the phone number, then we need to verify. So we have this verify OTP, and then there is this particular condition after verification is successful, where we are checking whether that particular user who has just verified the OTP exists in our database or not. So if the particular user exists in our database, then we can get the user data from Firestore, set the particular sign in, and save all of the data to our shared preference. That means to save all of that data locally on our device. If the user does not exist, then we have to save the data to Firestore. That means we are sending our data, user data, from our mobile phone to our server. Then we will also store the user image to Firebase storage, set the sign in, and then also save the data to our shared preference. So this is the case when we have the check sign in as false, which means the user is not signed in. And what if the user is signed in? Then we are redirecting the user to our home screen where we can get the data from shared preference. So now for that, let me come to our auth provider, and here we have to code that thing that we just discussed. So first of all, we will have this is signed in parameter, which will be checked or called when we need to check whether the authentication is successful or not. So here we can create a function which will be called whenever this auth provider is created. So that can be check sign in, and this check sign in can be a function here with an async, because we are going to use shared preference. So this will be shared preferences. You can provide the name as S or anything that you want. Then there will be shared preferences dot get instance. So we got the initialization for shared preference done. Now the next thing that we have to do is signed in is equals to ss, or rather s dot get bool. We will get the bool, and if you see, this get bool will ask for the key. So that key is something which we are going to check in our device. So if that key exists in our device, which means the which means then it will return a true. If that key don't exist in a device, then we can return false. So this key will be is signed in, or we can do is signed in, something like that. Then we can notify all the listeners. Okay, so we got this here. And now what we can do is, we were here in our welcome screen. So inside our welcome screen, where we have this on press, so what we can do is, we need to first of all write this final AP, which means auth provider. So then we will call our auth, the provider class, and this is the format. So we will write auth provider context, and then listen can be false, because this listen false is similar to, if you have used the provider before, then you might be knowing this listen false is similar to when we write context.read, and if we do a return, if we do a listen true, then that will become context.watch, which means whenever any change, this is kind of like the concept of a stream. So whenever any change is reflected in that value, that will automatically update. So if you come here, so where we will write ap.isSignedIn, which means if the particular user is signed in, if the user is signed in, then we have to do a bit of task here. ap.isSignedIn is equals to true. Then we need to do navigator.push, and we can do material page route builder context, which means is signed in is true, then we have to redirect our user to our home screen, which we don't have anything for now. So we'll create an empty home screen here, and we can return this as scaffold body center child, let's say text, and text can be home screen. And click on save and close that thing from there, and here we will write home screen. And other than that, then we have to do this. If signed in is equal to false, then we will be going to a register screen. So now let me just reload and see how this will redirect me. So you can see what we have here. Okay, so I think we know what we did here wrong. So now this will work. So we need to set this value. This value will be called from outside this auth provider, and this is for the inside value. This is a private value. So we need to set the global scope to the private scope. So now if I click on get started, so here we are in the register screen. If we reload and let's say I change this to false, I should be redirected to our home screen. That means our logic is working. Okay, so our logic is working. I'll make this to true, because right now the sign in is not successful. And we can also see when the sign in is successful, we need to do one more step, which is not for now. When true, then fetch shared preference data, which we will do after we set the data. So when this will be true, anyways, now we can go to this register section. And before that register section, or rather in the registration screen, what we can do is we need to send the phone number. So here we can create a function send phone number, and now we will call our auth provider that we created. This will be what we have provider, and this can be listen false. Now if you see, we need to provide the phone number, so that can be something like phone controller.text.trim, because we want to remove any white space. Let's say I enter 1 2 3 and then I start doing like that, or even if I provide these many white spaces, so if you see the length is more than 9 because we have these many white spaces here. So I want to trim all that thing, and then we need to go to our auth provider, and here we have to create this function which will be sign in with phone. So if you see the diagram that I showed you, so if if signed in user is false, then we have to create this function sign in with phone. So this will be void sign in with phone, and this will contain the build context. And the reason we are accepting build context is because we also want to show the bottom, what we say, the snack bar, if we have any issues. So build context, and then basically we can just accept the phone number that we want to send to Firebase. This will be an async function because we are going to use await. So we are going to use try and catch, but the advanced version for try and catch can be something like with this on Firebase auth exception. This is a, what we say, this is a class that is provided in the Firebase, and it contains, or rather returns, different error messages whenever any error occur. So if any error occur, we can show in snack bar, which we don't have right now. So what we can do is we will go to our libs folder, we will create a new folder utils, and in the utils we will create a new file utils, and here we will write void show snack bar, and this will be accepting values like build context and also our, what we say, content. And now, okay, so this will be content. Now we can return scaffold messenger dot off context shows snack bar, then snack bar. Let me see why this is having issue. Rather, we don't need to return because this is a void function. Content, okay, so this will be inside our text. If we see this, okay, so we can do show snack bar e dot message to string. And now inside our try function, we will first of all initialize the Firebase. So this will be something like final Firebase auth equal to Firebase auth dot instance, and here we will write Firebase auth dot sign in, or rather verify phone number. Sign in is something where we are implementing the email and password. So here it contains few values which are lengthy ones. So let me just start with something like verification complete. So whenever the verification is complete, here you can see we will get the phone auth credential. So we'll write phone auth credential. Okay, so this will be in this particular format, and then we can do something like Firebase auth. Okay, so this will be an async, and when the sign in or the verification is complete, then we can sign in with credential, and the credential will be our phone auth credential. So this is only after a OTP is completed. And let's say we have some error, then we can take the error and throw the exception to our user, that we get the error message here, and this will be error dot message. Perfect. Now once the code is sent, we will be redirecting our user to the OTP screen. So now we don't have any OTP screen right now, so this will be OTP screen. We will do, what we say, import material dot dart, and here I need to provide a semicolon, and here this will be stateful widget. And now here comes the question of how the Firebase is going to determine which screen is used, or what is the OTP, particular ID for the OTP, and all of those other good stuff. So for that they have this particular thing. If you see this code send, they have this verification ID and the force resending token. So what we can do is the name code required. Okay, so I think we need to do something like this. Now we need to get this verification ID and send to our OTP screen. So what we can do is we can create the final parameter here also. So this will help us to identify, okay, this OTP was sent after the user clicks on this login button. Perfect. And now once this code is sent, we can do navigator dot push material page route builder can be context, and then we need to go to our OTP screen. I think we need to import this, and this will take the value what we have, verification ID. Perfect. We can provide commas here. And now for this code auto retrieval, we will not be coding this thing. Do let me know if you need this. So basically, if you study this, what is this thing? This is triggered when an auto retrieval times out and provide a verification ID. So now I think we are good to go. Let us see if we have some issues here. So first of all, we need to call our ap.sign in with phone. Then we need to provide the phone number. Now the phone number will be in this format. Currently it is here. If you see, currently the phone number will be something like, if I enter my 12345678990, but we don't want this to be something like this. We want it to be in this format. This will be the format. So this value can be this +91 value can be retrieved from the pack selected country parameter that we have, this one. So basically what we'll be doing is, here we will do a string interpolation, and this will become what we have, okay, plus selected country dot phone code, and then we will enter our phone number that we have, this one. And now I think I forgot one more thing. If you come to Auth provider, in this verify phone number, we need to provide this phone number also that we are fetching. So this will be like this, and then when the verification is completed, then we have to do that thing. So now let me just restart the application, or rather just reload the application. If I click on get started, as we are not authenticated because the is signed in value is set to false. So we are here to set the values. Let me just open my Safari and show you the thing that I entered while setting up the authentication part. So if you remember, we have set up a particular testing number. This is the number. So let me just enter, and you will get a green icon here. If I click on login, okay, so nothing will happen because I need to assign this particular function. That means we come to this. Let me just remove this. I need to assign this function to the on tab of this button. Where is the button? Okay, so this will be like this. If I click on this login, so now this will open up a particular window inside the Safari where the Firebase will verify whether the particular application is okay or is not a robot. So let me just go to our OTP screen and provide a scaffold here, and I think we can start coding for our OTP screen. But before that, I wanted to tell you this the captcha that was coming here. So basically I will say you to remove to go through the steps of removing that, and for that, for the iOS part, you will need the access to the developer console. So I'll not be setting up the iOS part here, but for the Android part, I can tell you what you can do is, if you come to this project overview and if you click on this project setting, here you will see this app check thing. So basically you just need to click on this get started, and here in this what we have, this Android application, you can start with display integrity, and we already entered the SHA-256 signature, so you can also check this 256. This is same, and we can just click on accept. Okay, so I think there was some issue while accepting the, let me just reload. I click on this. Why is it not accepting the terms and condition? Again, this is not accepting the, I mean, you can check on your end and this will work. If this is having issue, you can let me know. I will create a separate video for setting up on iOS and Android. So now we are in the OTP screen, and here in the OTP screen, if you see the design that we have, I guess So we got this screen done, and we are in the OTP screen. So this is quite similar to the registration part that we have. So if you come to the registration part, and we can copy few code from here. This will be scaffold, and I can copy it somewhere till here. So like this. Okay, so we need to provide few things. Okay, so we have copied the things that were from the register screen, and we can change this to verification. And other than that, we can also change this here. This will be enter the OTP sent to your phone number. And now what we can also do is, above this particular image that we are having, we can provide one more children which will be align, and this will be a back button that can redirect the user to the register screen. So alignment dot top left, child can be, let's say, gesture detector, or even if you can use other values like inkwell or icon button and so on. So we can do navigator dot off dot pop, and the child can be icons dot arrow back. Okay, so we can also go to our the home screen, the register screen. We can decrease this here, let's say. Okay, this looks fine. Now if we look at the design that we have for the OTP screen, we have this particular we have the values. So there is a particular package that we are going to use. So let me enter the name of that package here, which is by the name p input. So let me just open this. Okay, so this is the Flutter p input from Torque Nike. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So we can see we have a lot of options here to create the verification codes and so on. So we'll just copy this here, go back to our pub/spec.yaml file, and here we will paste it and click on save. And I'll just wait for this to finish, and then after that has been added, we can come directly here and import this. So this will be p input. If I click on save, so you can see fields are coming here, and these are currently with the length of 4, which means 4 digits. We can change them to, let's say, 6, because Firebase sends 6-digit OTP to the user. Show cursor will be true, and we can have some other properties like, if you see here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so this means these fields are working, but we can define some. What we have is, let's say, pin theme, default pin theme. So this can be pin theme, and then we can define the width and height for these particular value, these boxes, which can be 60 and 60, let's say. Okay, so this has disappeared. We need to also provide box decoration, border radius dot circular 10, and let's say we also have the border dot all colors dot purple dot shade 200. Okay, so 200 looks fine. And other than that, we can also provide the text style, because right now the text is very small. So we can come directly here after this box decoration and write text style. And for the text style, we can provide a const value and font size, let's say 20, and font weight can be 600. And now 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so this looks fine. So we got this field also. Now whenever this field is submitted, what we want to do is, so there is a function, this on submit. So whenever this field is submitted, we will provide this particular value that we got to our string, which we can create here. So for now it will be an empty string, and we can do a set state OTP code is equal to value. And after this field we can create few values which we are not going to code in this video, but if you will be telling me, then I will be definitely coding those things in future. So this will be something like the child can be custom button and the text can be verify. On press can be null for now. Okay, so we have this here, and after this what we have, the size box. We can create one more size box which will have our text, didn't receive any code, we will have the font size as 14, font weight as bold, color can be color.black 38. Didn't receive any code. Okay, so it is looking nice here. We can just copy it one more time, but before that let me add a height of sidebox, and we can change this resend new code, and this will become something like 16 and purple. Okay, can decrease this to 10, rather 15. So now we can start coding our verify OTP section. So you can come here and write verify OTP. So this will be verify OTP function, which will take the build context, obviously, because we want to show the snack bar whenever any issue occurs, and this will take the user OTP. And now if we can come to the on press but function that we have for the button, if OTP code is not equal to null, then what we can do is verify OTP, and that can be user. Okay, so I think, and else we can show a snack bar, enter 6-digit code. So basically this means is if we click this verify right now, so it will ask me to enter 6-digit code, and even if I enter 4 digits, even then this will ask me to enter 6-digit code. So now for the OTP verification, we can come to our what we have auth provider, and here below this sign in, the next step, if you look at the diagram, after this sign in with phone, we need to verify the OTP. So this will be verify OTP. So for the verification of OTP, we can create the function verify OTP, and this will take few values which we can display, or rather which we can accept from the user. Required build context, then we will have the verification ID that we received, and I guess we also need the user OTP, the user, that is the value that user is sending. And after that we can create a function of on success. So whenever we get everything completed, we can return this on success function. Basically in this on success function we can do a navigator.push, so we can define that thing here in the OTP screen, and directly just in the function we just need to write this on success and we will be good to go. So now whenever we have this verify OTP state being called, we need to set the loading. So how you can set the loading, like the way we created these boolean value now, we can also create for is loading is equal to false, and then this will be is loading and is loading. So now whenever the is verify function will be called, we can set the is loading to true and then notify the listener. Now after we have notified the listener about is loading, the next step we can do is try and catch block. So this can be something like on Firebase auth exception catch e, and then show snack bar. This can be e message to string, because this will take a string value. And inside this try method, let us start by calling the phone auth credential, because basically this phone auth credential will be returned basically for signing into the Firebase, if you see where we have this verification complete, this will be the same step that we are going to use inside this verify OTP also. But now we were getting the phone auth credential here, so we have to also create a method where we can get the phone auth credential. So this will be credential, so phone auth provider, then the credential, and it is asking for the verification ID and the SMS code. So SMS code will be user OTP, and then we got the credential, so we can directly log into Firebase. So this will be Firebase auth, sign in with credential, and then we can provide the creds. So now basically we are also going to store the user value. So this will return a user parameter. If you see this class user, so this will be a user parameter that will be returned here. So we can do something like this. So now this will show me an error, so we can wrap this in this particular thing, and now we will be okay. So ultimately what we are doing is we are getting the user that is written through this command, sign in with credential, and then we are storing the value of that particular thing inside this user parameter. This is null now, so we have to also write this here. So if user is not equal to null, then we can follow up with few steps. Okay, so this will be something like this, because we need to check here, and if this is not equal to null, then we can carry our logic. If this is null, then what you can do is we will stop the loading thing first. This will be notify listeners, and also we need to stop the loading in this also. So whenever any issue occur, we need to stop the loading after showing the snack bar. So now our logic will be something like, first of all, we can take this on success, this function that we are calling, and other than that we can set the user ID. So basically if you see this user variable that we have, so this will have few properties like the phone number, the photo URL, the user ID, and so on. So we can take the user ID from it and store it locally, and store it inside our auth provider. So this will be user ID, get user ID, perfect, and here we can do user ID is equal to user.uid. So let me see what errors we have. Okay, so this will be something like this. Now we can come to our OTP verification screen, and here we need to check, let's say, verify OTP, and then we have to check whether this user exists in our database, yes or no. So we will start with that thing only. First of all, we will create the function, this value, so that we can access our auth provider. This will be listen false. And now as I'm writing this listen false, I remember one more thing. We can come directly here and we can write provider.auth provider and context, and listen can be true, and rather this will be is loading, and then we can do full dot is loading. So basically here we are writing listen is equal to true. So whenever this function, whenever a value is passed to this is loading, we will fetch the state, or rather update the state. So what we want is, instead of this safe area, or rather we can keep the safe area, instead of the center widget we will do is loading is equal to true. Then we can do a center child of circular progress indicator, which will be of colors.purple. So now we can come to our verify OTP, ap.verify OTP, context will be this, verification ID can be widget.verification ID, user OTP, and on success will be the function that we have to focus entirely. So inside this on success function, what we'll be doing is, first of all, checking whether user exists, in the DB. So for that we can create the function in our auth provider first. So database, okay, database operations, let's say. So we need to check this check existing user. So this means we can return a true or false. So we can start with the future function with the return type of boolean value true and false. So this can be check existing user, and we can do an async. So basically we are going to our document snapshot. So this will be the reference of the place where we are going to search. So I think we have to also initialize Firebase Firestore. So I'll be showing you the structure here. Okay, so this will be Firebase Firestore. This can be similar to this. Perfect. If you look at the structure, okay, so I think I have not updated the screenshot here for that structure. So basically we generally have the collections where we will be storing the data. So for this we will have the users collection, and inside that each collection we will get different user IDs. So this document ID will be present with the user ID. So remember, in this verify OTP we have saved the user ID globally, so we can use that parameter here, and now we can get it. So this snapshot will be having a function, I guess, exists. Okay, so if snapshot exists we can return true, and let's say we also print user exists, and else new user, and this can be false. So this is the function, and now this will be check existing user, then take the value. And now as we got the value here, we can do more operations. So if value is equal to true, which means user exists in our app, else new user. So for a new user, okay, so this is for the users who exist in our application. For the new user we need to save the data to Firebase Firestore, and the place where we are going to save the data is this particular user information screen. So let's say we come here and we will directly shift the user to our user navigator screen. So this will be push and remove until, and the route can be material page route, builder can be context, and then we need to create the user information screen dot. So we can do import material dot and user information screen, and let's say this is scaffold. So now we need to just enter user information screen here, and I think we need to just provide a semicolon here, and we are good to go. So this is for the new user and this is for the existing user. And now if you look at the Firestore database, or even if you look in the authentication section, we got no users here as we have not verified the OTP, and after we verified the OTP, then a new user will be created here. So let's say we reload the application and I click on get started. I will enter the phone number that we have, which is the dummy phone number. Click on login, and here we are inside the OTP verification screen. We can enter the number as 123456, and as I click on verify, it should show me a circular progress indicator. So let's see. Okay, enter 6-digit code. Let's see why is this showing me here. This is already 6-digit. Are we not setting up the what we have? So let's see, we print this OTP code in the debug console, or rather if we come here and print this here, null. Why is it showing me null here? So on submitted. Okay, so this is not on submitted, this is on completed. My bad, I have not seen this thing. So I guess we can just reload and see this one more time. So basically these type of errors will come every time you start coding the app yourself. So you can just, so instead of getting overwhelmed from it, you can just look at how you can solve it and go through line by line of how things are done. I can click on login. And here we are in the OTP verification screen. So this will be 123456 and it should show me a circular progress indicator and redirect me to the user information screen. Okay. It should also print new user. Okay. And now if you look at the database, there will be no data entry in this Firestore database as we are not saving the user data right now. But there will be an entry in this authentication section which is automatically detected by Firebase itself. And this will also give us the user ID. This is the user ID that we were saving in the, what we have, this particular string. So now if you look at the database, we don't have anything, but in the authentication tab we do have things here. So we will start by designing the user information screen. And for the OTP verification you are quite done till here, but let us shift to this, what we have, the user information screen also. So we are in the user information screen, and here we need to create different controller like name controller, and this can be bio controller, and other than that, okay, email controller. And as we have defined the controllers here, it's the right time to dispose them whenever we don't need them. So this is some good practice that you should adopt. Email controller, and then we have bio controller. Now for this thing, what we can also do is, let me start by looking at the design. Okay, so this is a column and here we have three text form field, a button, and then the circle avatar. So there can be body, safe area, child can be padding, and this can be similar to the ones that we have till now. Vertical 25, horizontal 5. This is quite different, I guess. And the children can be single child scroll view, which we obviously don't need. Okay, so we can directly provide the paddings here, and we can do something like this. Perfect. And for the children, a center child, which will be a column, and the first children in this column will be our circular indicator. So this will be an inkwell because we need the on tap functionality here. And the child can be, first of all, we will see whether there are any image present or not. If the image is not equal to null, then we can display this particular section. If the image is picked from the gallery and it contains some value, which means this is not null, then we will display the image there. So for that we need to get, or rather create, this file. So make sure don't import the .html, make sure to import this .io, and this can be file. So initially this will be a null value, so this can be image. So if image equal to null, then we need to do a particular container, and else we will do another container. Let us see what we are going to code in this. So if image is equal to null, we can do a circular avatar where we will have background color can be circle.purple background color. Okay, and this is having this size. We can define the radius to be 50, and other than that we can also define the child, which can be icon, account circle, and size can be 50, let's say. Color can be color.white. And other than that, if we have any value in the image parameter, then what we can do is we will do circle avatar. Background image can be image, rather this will be not a normal image, this will be file image. So this will be image, and as this is null, so we need to provide an exclamation mark here, and radius can be 50 itself. So now we got the inkwell here. Next step will be to create the text fields. So we can start by providing the text field inside the container, and padding can be something like symmetric padding of vertical 5 and horizontal 15, and we can provide a margin also from top. So this will be name field, then we can have email, and then we can have, what was the last field, bio. Perfect. So we can create one particular widget here, which will be text field, and this will accept few values, but let me just return a padding parameter here, because we need a bottom padding from each of the fields. This will be text form field. Perfect. Now the parameter that we are requiring from the user is hint text, and this can be icon data, and we also need the type of the text input, and we can also provide the maximum lines because we need the bio controller also, and at last we will call our controller. So let me just go to a name field and start assigning few values. Text field, hint text can be John Smith, this is a dummy name. Icons.account circle, and input type can be text input type dot name. Maximum lines can be 1, and that can be name controller. So we got one value here which is not that much decorative right now, and this can be email, and then we have the bio. So for the email, what we will have is abc@example.com. The icon we can have is this icons.email, email address, and email controller. This will have maximum 2 lines, and enter your bio here, and this can be bio controller. For the particular icon, this can be edit. And now let us start designing our text field. So we will have a prefix icon, but before that let us provide the cursor color purple. Controller can be controller. Keyboard type can be input type. Maximum line can be maximum. Okay, so this is maximum lines, and then this can be prefix icon. Margin can be, let's say, 8.0. Decoration can be box decoration. Border radius dot circular. Color can be colors dot purple, which is looking awkward right now, but what we will have is child of icon. Size can be 20. Color can be colors.white, and now this looks much better. So other than that, we will have other properties like the enable border, outline, input border, and inside this outline input border we will have border radius, let's say 10, and border side, which I think we can do colors.transparent, or rather not colors.transparent, these can be purple. Or if you look at our design, okay, so these were transparent and then we can fill the color in it, and this will be focused border. And then we can provide hint text, which will be hint text, align hint with label with hint, and border can be input border dot none, and fill color can be colors.purple dot shade 50, and filled will be true. So now this looks much better. So we got all of these things here. Other than that, we can come back to this container and provide a little bit of sidewalks again with a height 20, and then we can call our custom button height 50, width can be, and child can be custom button, which will have the text continue, let's say, and on press can be empty for now. Okay, so this is not having good height here. Let us do 80. Perfect. And then what we can do is we can store the data. Store user data to database. This was the thing that we've discussed here. Save data to Firestore database. So again, we can do a function which is be store database, and we can create the instance for our auth provider, and this will be listen false. Now before we start moving, I want to create the model or the structure of our user data. This will be user model. If you see, basically we will have the bio, the created date, the created at date, the email, the name, the phone number, then this profile pic, which will be a string value, and then the user ID. So we can start by writing user model, and here we will have properties like string, name, email, bio, profile pic, created at, phone number, and then user ID. So we can provide final values to this, and so that we can create a constructor. Perfect. These can be required values, so we can do something here, and then this will be having one function from map, where we can return user model, and you can just do the same for all of these fields. I already have them, so I'll just copy and paste them here. And this is from map, which means we are getting the data from server, and this is to map, which means when we are sending the data to our server. So this will be in this format, to map. So name, email, user ID, bio, profile pic, phone number, created at. So inside this user information screen, we will be passing the user parameter or the user model. So this will be user model. So the name can be name controller.text.trim, as we want to remove all the white spaces first. And this will be email controller.text.trim. For the bio, this will be bio controller.text.trim. And for the profile pic, we don't have profile pic, which we will update soon. We don't have phone number rather, I guess. Yeah, not in this user information screen. So we will update all these values soon. and we can now see whether image is not equal to null, and else if the image is null, we can also do one more thing, which will be show snack bar, please upload your profile photo. And now in this continue button we can do something like store data. If you click on continue, please upload your profile photo. We can increase the size for this button, let's say 90. So please upload your profile photo. Now for that thing, if you remember, we have the inkwell for on tap, so we can create the function here which will be for selecting image. Before that, I wanted to show you the package that we are going to use for that, which is image picker. So if you see, this is the package, so we can just copy it here, post.yaml, click on save, and if you come back to our utils folder where we have the snack bar, we can create this function which will be our future, which means we are returning the file that we are getting from user. This will be pick image with our build context, because we also want to display any error. So this will be an async, and now this will be null, which means we have to also import this flutter.io, and we can create this here, try catch block, show snack bar, e.toString, and in the try block, final picked image is equal to await image picker dot pick image, and now it is asking for the source. If you hover over this image source dot gallery, click on save. If picked image is not equal to null, image that we have here will be updated with this picked image dot path, and we can then, after all of these values, we can return the image from this function. And now inside this user information screen, we just simply write this image, or rather select image, async image that we have here inside this user information. We can update that with our pick image, and if you see the return type, this is also image, this is also image, and then set the state. So now if you can see, we can do this select image. If you click on this, no implementation found for method pick image on this, which means you have to restart. And as we are accessing the user gallery, we need to add these parameters here. If you come to your info.plist, you need to add this ns photo library usage description. If you have the Xcode, you can also do something from there also. So we can come back here to using our Xcode. We can see the info.plist, and here we can click on add button, and ns, or rather photo, I think this is in the privacy thing, access photo library usage description, and the value can be, or rather the value can be this access allow us to upload images from your phone gallery to our server. Click on save. If you come to this and info.plist file, okay, so we got the value here, ns photo library usage description, and then the string. You can shift this down here, but make sure it is after any key string pair. So if you see info.plist, I guess, okay, this is present here now from top to this bottom. We can close this, and we can close this, and now we can just run this application again and wait for this to start. Application is running right now. So now we can just click on this get started, and here I will enter the phone number, click on login, and then this will open up the Safari browser window where this is going to validate the reCAPTCHA thing. And now I will enter the OTP, as we already know the OTP 12356, and then we are redirected to this user information screen because currently we don't have any data in the Firestore database. Also in the debug console we have this new user printed, so we can click on this user console. So after we click on that circular avatar, you will see we are having this section where this is the string that we just added in the Xcode. This access allows us to upload images from your phone gallery to a server. So we can provide access all photos, and then we can select this particular photo, and this will be updated here in real time. So this means we have the image file here, and we can upload or rather update these values also. And bio can be hello, this is Shivansh from /Flutter. Okay, so we can come back here where we have the function. So this user model will be updated with the name controller, email, bio. But what we are going to do with this user model? So in this, if image is not equal to null, which is true right now because we got the image here. So once that is here present, then we will be, first of all, where we have the diagram, we will save the user data to Firestore, Firebase Firestore. So this will be something like ap.save user data to Firebase. This function is currently not present, so we will go to our auth provider, and below the place where we have the database operation, we will start with this function, which is a very important function. So this will be save user data to Firebase, and there will be values like build context, obviously, because we will be showing the snack bar if any error occur, and this will take the user model also. So other than that, it will take the file because we need to upload this particular file. So the basic structure is something like we will be uploading the file to our Firestore storage, Firebase storage, and then this is the screenshot for Firebase storage structure. So there will be a directory profile pics, and with the entries of this profile pic will be something like the user ID. So basically, let's say we get a new user registered to our application, then the Firebase will automatically generate a string. So these two are the automatically generated user ID, and then we are storing this particular string, and this will be the name for the photo that a user uploads. You can see the size 1.84, 965 KB and so on. If you want, you can provide an image compression method, but we are not going to cover that thing in this video. We can import this thing here, and then we can also do on success function if you want. Let's see first if everything works fine, and we can set is loading to true, notify listeners, try, and then this can be on Firebase auth exception catch, which will be e, and then show snack bar e dot message to string, and we can also stop the loading and notify our listeners. So now we come to our user information screen, and if you see, these parameters are required, like the context, which we already have here, the user model, which is this thing that we have, and then we can provide the profile pic, which will be this image that we have in the global scope. And other than that, what was the function? Okay, so on success, which will be empty for now, right now. So we can go to a save user data to Firebase, and here inside the try catch, first of all, we will be uploading image to Firebase storage. So we can create a function for that thing. This future function will return the string, and this string will be the URL. If you see the structure, this will be the URL for the image that we upload. So this will be returning a string, store file to storage, there will be a reference and then the file that we want to upload. So basically this reference will be the structure that I just shown you inside a profile pic, then the user ID. So final, okay, so this will be upload task, and then we have to initialize the Firebase storage also. So Firebase storage, copy paste, and this will be Firebase storage dot ref dot child can be ref, and then put file, which will be our file. And here let's say we await this upload task to upload the file, and this will be kind of, let's say, a snapshot. So we got this here, and then we can return the download URL. Let me just save it first. So this will be snapshot dot ref dot get download URL, and then simply return the URL. So now we can come to our function where we're storing the data to our Firebase. So basically where this will be store file to storage, and we need to provide a reference which will be something like profile pic, and then the current user ID which we already stored globally in this auth provider, and the file will be image. Okay, so what was the file that we are getting? Profile pic. And then when this function is created, which means the value is present, then we can update our user model. So our user model will have the profile pic URL, which will be the value. Why is it showing an error? Okay, so I think this will be like this. Nope. The model dot created at. Okay, so I would have to do all these things. Let's remove these final values because we already are having the required values here. So created at will be date time dot now. So why is it showing me an error? Okay, so millisecond since epoch and then toString. Then user model dot phone number, and we can get the phone number from our Firebase auth current user dot phone number, and user ID can be also fetched similarly. So basically what we are generally doing here is, initially we were sending the user model and updating the few fields like name, email and bio, because these were coming from these controller, and then we shifted those values to this save user data to Firebase, and then updated few values like the profile pic after this function, then the created at, the phone number, the user ID. And now we can also create a global user model here. So this will be something that we can call in our home screen. This you don't have to do generally, but I just do for this tutorial. You can directly use the share preference to fetch the data. Okay, so this can be something like this, and this, and this. If we come here, we can update the user model with the latest user model that we have. And now it's time to update all of these values to our database. Uploading to database. So this will be await Firebase storage dot collection, or not storage, this will be Firebase Firestore dot collection, which will be users. The document can be user ID, and we can set the values like user model to map. If you look at the to map, so we were setting in this value in this particular format, and then we can initiate on success method, and we can set is loading is false and notify listener to be present here. and I guess we are good to go here. Let me just double check. We can come to our user information screen. So as we are here in the user information screen, we need to first of all create this is loading thing that we have. So kind of similar to one that we have in the OTP verification screen. So this will be like this, and we can have this thing, and let's say is loading equal to true, else this, let's say right now it is false. Okay, so I can shift this here something, I guess. Yeah, only to change this when it is true. So we can shift, we can either come here, and now once data is saved, we need to store it locally also. So for that we need to create the function in our auth provider, which will be using the shared preference library that we have. So here comes the main part of shared preference, storing data locally, because if you see, after we upload, we need to store set sign in and store data locally. So we need to first of all create this future function, save user data to SP. SP means shared preference, and this can be shared preferences as await shared preferences dot get instance await as dot set string, which can be, let's say, user model, and then we need to encode this because this will be in the JSON format, and I guess we need to also import this. So we can come here and we can write ap dot set or save user data to SP. Then after we save the user data to SP, we need to also set the sign in. Remember the sign in that we have, which was checking the sign in. So we can do future set sign in, which will be an async function. Again, we can copy these line here, and then s dot set boolean value, which was this is signed in, and we can set true. And in the general scope, in the overall scope, we can also set this true and notify the listener. And we got this here. So ap dot set sign in, and then after we got all of these things, then we can do a simple push navigator, push and remove until, and this will be home screen. So quite done with the user information screen, I guess. Why is it showing me an error? Okay, so context, and then we will have, okay, material, page route, and then the home screen. Quite a bit lengthy step. That's the reason I use what we have push named. So we can see now. Let me just show that current database right now. If you see current database is empty, we can click on create, and once the image is uploaded, I guess it will redirect us to the home screen. Okay, so we are in the home screen. The image is quite lengthy one, that's the reason it took a good amount of time. So here we have the users collection, then this is the particular user ID which you can see here. This was automatically generated by Firebase 2A83. Then we have bio. This is Shivansh from /Flutter, created at email, name, phone number, profile pic. If you click on this profile pic URL, you can see this is the image, and also in our cloud what we have storage, Firebase storage, we get this profile pic folder. Inside this profile pic folder we have the name for this particular profile of user as this user ID, and then this is the size. So this means we are in the home screen. In the home screen we can simply start by, let's say, provider of auth provider. Okay, this is in the build method, and we can return app bar with a background, let's say purple. Title can be Flutter phone auth, and there can be actions like, and now there is one thing that we have to do is, currently if you see there, we can go to the body tag, center child, this will be column, main and cross axis can be center, children can be circle avatar, background color can be color dot purple, background image can be network image, and we have this user model, then profile pic, radius can be 50. Then simply we can return the text. So this can be ap.userModel.name, and we can do same thing like phone number, email, bio, and we get this data here. But if we reload the application, let's see whether we get these data or not. So these data are not fetched right now because we are not saving the user model again. So what we have to do is, if you remember in our welcome screen where I mentioned you, when true we will be fetching the local data. So what we will be doing is, we have to fetch this. So this will become if ap.isSignedIn is equal to true, then we will do this, else do this. So for the true part we will be coming here, and for the what we have, the else part will be coming here. We can remove these things, and let me just reload, and we can go to our auth provider and create a function to get data from our shared preference. So future get data from shared, let's say SP, copy this, paste this, string data is equal to s.get string, and this string will be user model that we have. So this is an JSON string, so we can update the auth provider user model. From map, which we need to decode, because earlier we encoded, now we need to decode. You can also set the user ID, notify the listeners, and now inside our get started screen we need to do something like await, which we have to create this. Okay, here ap.get data from SP, then, or rather when complete, then we can shift the user to our home screen. Click on save, provide a bit of commas here, and we can just reload, and I guess this should show me the home screen with the values. Okay, perfect. We can come back here also, and I think we can do push replacement on both sides. I can click on reload, get started, and we are in the home screen. If we reload, I guess, okay, Now what if I click on this home screen button? This should log out the application. So we can come to this, and here we will write or rather this can simply be the function that we want, uap.user sign out, which we don't have, so we can come and write this will be future user sign out async await Firebase auth sign out, and we can also set is signed in is equal to false, notify listeners, and clear all shared preference data. So for that I guess we need to call this here sp.clear. Perfect. And here then navigator.push material page route. Okay, context, and we can come to our home screen. So we are here in, oh sorry, not in the home screen. If we reload, this should show me an error or not, because we have signed out. This will be welcome screen. So now I can reload, but if you remember in the OTP screen, there was this value which was checking whether user exists in our application or not. So currently the user exists in our app, so we need to set that thing also. So here we need to see the diagram. If it exists, get the data, then set sign in, and then set shared preference. So we need to get the data. So for that, what we can do is future get data from Firestore await Firebase. Okay, Firebase Firestore dot collection users doc, and now currently we don't save anything, so we have to get the Firebase auth to get the current user ID, because this is not saved, only the user is authenticated, so we can use this value. Then this will be document snapshot, and we can do something like user model is equal to, or rather this user model which is inside the application is equal to user model from map snapshot dot data. I guess this will work. Now let's say we do something like this. So this can be here, and we can also set the user ID and close this. And now this will be AP get data from Firestore, then save user data to SP, then set sign in, and then we can do the navigator dot push and remove until material page route builder context. Here we can go to our home screen. What happened? Why is this showing me an error? Okay, so this is push and remove until, not name. So now we can reload our application, and as user exists in our database, we can check one, two, three, four, five, six. Click on next, and here we are here in the home screen. And if you log out, we can see the login functionality also works. Perfect. So this was everything for this video. In future, I will be adding more functionalities to this OTP verification. Thanks for watching and do subscribe the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Thank you.